Welcome back to the Pisces Dead People Die Weekly podcast. We here at the PDPDW say, oh, he cashed in on CM Punk. He cashed in on CM Punk. Ah! Okay, so I am excited about this. Let's just break it all down. One of the biggest pops of the night, if not the biggest pop of the night, was definitely Seth Rollins returning to cash in on CM Punk after such a brutal, 30-minute battle between Gunther and CM Punk with no real pauses in between to, where they're just laying out in the middle of the ring for 5 minutes to catch their breath. Somebody was up doing something. The momentum was continuing to move. Whether it was Gunther or CM Punk, the energy did not stop. So, let's just start off with the predictions. The predictions that I had, at least with the CM Punk and Gunther match, was that CM Punk would win that World Heavyweight Championship from Gunther. So, check. I got that one right. I'm proud of that. There was one throughout the night that I did not get. The rest of them I did get, and I'm very proud of. But I almost feel like this one doesn't count just because, though he won, it was the same amount of time that Drew McIntyre held on to his championship. About 5 minutes. So, let's just, I'll still count it because technically he did win the match. This was a separate match with the Seth Rollins thing. So, that just makes Seth Rollins and company so much more valuable now. When the cards were laid out on the table, it made sense. Especially when I predicted that CM Punk would win. If I really thought that CM Punk would win, I had to think at some point that Seth Rollins would want to cash in and ruin CM Punk's time. But, it didn't cross my mind there. They did good. I like for it not to be predictable. And, I assume that everybody else feels the same way too. Next in line was, maybe not next in line, but, I got a list here in front of me of the matches and their predictions, so, we'll just go down the list. The RK Roll, Randy Orton and Jelly Roll versus Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul. I did call that Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul were going to win that match. I thought that it would be one of those, everybody kind of expects the heroes are going to win because there's Randy Orton and they got Jelly Roll. They can't let Jelly Roll lose. Just yeah, they can. I think Jelly Roll understands that too. He played that off very, very graciously. I like how they did with Jelly Roll, though, where it looked like he was just out. They had people taking him out, and he said, no, I'm not going down like this. Crawled back up, delivered a couple moves to Logan Paul, and even knocked down Drew McIntyre in the process, but it didn't take long before he was out, and then out went Orton too. Yeah, so I think it was a good match. I thought it was going to be one of the weaker matches, to be completely honest, though I love Drew and Randy Orton, and Logan's starting to grow on me, but I thought it was going to be one of the weaker matches, but it was actually pretty good. Especially with Jelly Roll coming back towards the end, his jabs were looking very professional. So, kudos to that one. Very good match. I got that prediction right. That was 2 out of 6. Roman Reigns and Jey Uso versus Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed at the beginning of the night. Was a pretty good match. That was a long-winded match too. Jey was kept in the ring. Kind of like with Jelly Roll and Randy Orton, Jey was kept in the ring for an extended amount of time until he could finally tag out to Roman, which got one of the biggest pops of the night too. I'm sure that Seth cashing in had a bigger pop, but everybody was just waiting for Roman to get in there. Kind of like what Wade Barrett said. Roman Reigns looks like a video game character brought to life at this point. It's unbelievable that this is a real person. So, but I did predict that Roman Reigns and Jey Uso, through a very, very tough struggle against Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, did maintain the victory. Roman Reigns and Jey Uso, that is, and I did predict that. So that's a check off for me too. That's 3 out of 6. The Judgment Day versus Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair. That was a very good match, and I thought, I had predicted Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair were going to win, and they did. But at the same time, once Alexa Bliss connected with that one hit onto Charlotte Flair, I thought it was over at that point, because that was what ended previous match between Judgment Day and then Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, when Raquel hit Roxanne by accident after, Alexa got pulled out of the way by Charlotte Flair when she went babyface. But now, it did not backfire, and Alexa had one of the best pin interruptions that I've seen in a long time, with that neck breaker front flip, whatever you'd want to call that. That looked really good though, and congratulations, girls. You girls deserve it. This is good for Charlotte, considering that her return, she couldn't even get a word in edgewise, and they did right by grouping her up with Alexa. They're good on them. I'm happy to see it. Sami Zayn versus Karrion Kross. I predicted Sami Zayn was going to win. Sami Zayn did win. So that's 5 out of 6. Yeah, I did think that Sami was going to go bad, though. I thought that it was going to be one of those that Sami wins by turning heel Sami, doing something maybe while the ref wasn't looking, and then pinning Kross and maintaining the victory that way. Securing the victory that way. But he still managed to still be babyface Sami Zayn, which I think is fitting. So, and it gets the devil off the shoulder. You even got the confirmation from Karrion whenever Sami looked back at him and said, we're done. This is done. We're done with this. And Karrion kind of nodded to him. And I was like, all right. If Karrion really does back off, then it's just like one of those demons or devils that, is like, we had a deal. Now I have to follow my end of the bargain. So, good on Sami for keeping with the good guy thing. But the one match of the night that I could not predict was Tiffany Stratton versus Jade Cargill. I was so sure that with Naomi being the women's world champion, that they would want Jade to be the WWE women's champion, so that they could kind of have a hatred between the women's champions and stuff like that. But maybe they really are done with Naomi and Jade Cargill after this. Or maybe since Jade lost, it'll resume. Or maybe Naomi won't even retain. Yeah, there's no telling until we see tomorrow night. But this is I did not get this one. I thought Jade was going to win all day long, but it looks like it's still Tiffy time. So, congratulations, Tiffany Stratton. I can't wait to see what happens on the next night of SummerSlam. The Friday Night SmackDown before this one did not get to release an episode on that, just due to being busy, but I figured I would put in what I thought about it. At least the John Cena and Cody Rhodes bit, where apparently good old babyface John Cena's back. The John Cena we all know and love. And if that's true, cool. It's not going to change my prediction. I still think that John's going to win and maintain that championship. But it leads to a couple of questions. Do we think that John Cena is just fooling Cody Rhodes and he's actually still heel John Cena? Or is he babyface John Cena? And is Cody going to wind up doing his heel turn like I kind of semi-predict, and some people do predict, just because Cody didn't look like, he wasn't like cheering on John Cena like, you'd think he would have. It's almost like he's either, one, skeptical of this John Cena, like, oh yeah, we'll see. Or two, he has gone heel, full heel, and he's just like, okay, well, good for you. But this is me now. No telling. But if Cody and The Rock come out together tomorrow, it's gonna be crazy. That's all I'm gonna say. But yeah, that was the biggest thing about SmackDown, is that John Cena was back. I thought it was a little weird, the reason why I kind of, I think it would be very surprising and very good to see heel Cody Rhodes, but I do at the same time feel like John Cena might be just trying to fool Cody Rhodes, because if you look at his entrance, he's still wearing the belt backwards. He's still putting the banner or the handkerchief on the back of his head. He's still doing the disrespectful Cena stuff. And then he turns around and he's like, "No, I've been thinking about it, and I'm back, baby." And it's like, are you back? You came in like you normally would. I don't know. Was that just to set the tone? Either way, I look forward to the second night. The second night we have Rhea Ripley versus Io Sky versus Naomi for the Women's World Championship. My prediction is Naomi. So I'm just going down the list just to remind everybody what I think. Let's see, there's no telling what the outcome's going to be until we actually see it. Then we got Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu for the United States Championship in a steel cage match. I think that Jacob Fatu is about to take that belt back from Solo. Then we got, this is in no particular order. I haven't seen time-stamped match cards, but just going in order on my list. Becky Lynch versus Lyra Valkyria for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. I think Lyra is going to keep that belt from Becky, or take that belt from Becky, making her a 2-time Intercontinental Champion. Then AJ Styles versus Dominic Mysterio for the Intercontinental Championship, the Men's Intercontinental Championship. And I predict that Dirty Dominic Mysterio is going to retain, which would probably lead AJ to possibly go back to TNA or something like that. Which would, I don't want to see him go, but that's just what I'm thinking. The 6-pack tag team TLC match with, oh my gosh, okay. So we got DIY against Motor City Machine Guns, against Street Profits, against Wyatt Six, against Fraxium, against Andrade and Rey Fenix. And I think DIY is walking out of there with that, and that's a stretch. Like, if you were to go and gamble with that, you put just any of those guys, there's a low chance with how many people was in there. But DIY, I think they're walking out of there with those belts. And then the Cody Rhodes versus John Cena match. Street fight. I still think John Cena is going to retain. I don't think that he's going to lose that belt so early in his career, especially if he is just fooling people and he really is still going heel. But we'll have to wait and see. But I'm excited. I hope you guys are excited too. SummerSlam tomorrow. Ooh, and then I'll drop a video about it, hopefully that evening. It might be Monday morning, and then record a video about Raw and drop that Tuesday morning. So, busy weekend for me, but it is fun nonetheless. I'm having a good time watching these matches. I'm having a good time putting out my predictions and letting you guys know the outcome. This is fun. If you like what I do here, then leave a like, and as always, leave a comment down below and leave your opinion on my opinion and how you thought the matches went on today's night of SummerSlam, and who you think will win on the second night of SummerSlam. And as always, be sure to manhandle slam that subscribe button, and I'm going to get out of here. Peace out.